Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us for our 2:30 streaming show. I'm Jamie French.
And I'm Robinson Miles. A lot is happening out there today, so we're just going to go ahead and jump right in. Now, we start in Owensboro, where some changes are coming to an agriculture processing company. Officials with Cargill say they are closing the hydro plant facility along the Ohio River on 2nd Street. Now, we're told they're also cutting some jobs, but officials would not tell us how many. Now, as you've reported, Cargill bought the soybean processing plant, Owensboro Grain Company, back in 2022.
Yeah, so we have reached out. We asked Cargill leaders why they're closing the hydro plant. Officials told us they're restructuring to align with their business needs. Now, we're still working to learn more, so of course we'll keep you updated. A lot of unanswered questions there, like how many jobs are going to be impacted. So I've been in contact with them. Hopefully we can get you guys some answers soon.
Now, switching over to Evansville, mental health leaders are celebrating a milestone. Southwestern Behavioral Healthcare completed its first year as a certified community behavioral health clinic. Now, the clinic provides a range of mental health and addiction services. It's one of 8 pilot locations across the state.
Yeah, in its first year open, officials say they've added more jobs, they've increased access to care, and really decreased the wait times for appointments. After reflecting on the Evansville Clinic's impact in that first year, officials say they're really hoping to open even more behavioral health care clinics across the state within the next 5 years. So our Leslie Chapman was at that celebration earlier today, and she's going to have more on that story tonight on 14 News.
Now, to round things out today, we know that no one would be comfortable if we didn't have a road construction story. And believe me, we will not leave you hanging. Another update on a traffic alert in Evansville. Officials say the intersection of 9th Avenue and Ohio Street is closing tomorrow due to an ongoing waterline project. Now, crews have been working on Ohio Street for the past few weeks, and work had been delayed due to the snow.
Yeah, officials say that closure will now be in place for about 30 more days. Detour signs will be up at Wabash and Fulton Avenues. I feel like we continue to talk about the closure at Ohio Street, and it's going to continue for about another month. Of course, everything's kind of been a little wonky since that snowstorm, and this is just another thing there. So if you're traveling on the west side of Evansville, keep that in mind.
Not to say that there weren't complications driving through parts of town anyway.
Right.
But then you add that to it, it'll take some time. Yeah. But at least, we've got some timelines in place here, and we'll keep you updated, of course, as we learn more. Now, on the other side of things, we know you're just putting up with us, waiting for Arden to come out. We are too. She's on her way, but be sure to circle back and join us again for 14 News at 4, 5, 6, and 10.
All right, do not go anywhere. Meteorologist Arden Gregory will be here right after the break.
Stay informed on your local news and weather throughout the day by watching the 14 First Alert streaming shows. At 8:30 a.m., get your First Alert forecast to plan the day ahead and catch up on the news that happened overnight with the 14 News Sunrise team. In the afternoon, get the latest headlines, forecasts, and a preview of the stories we're working on with the 14 First Alert streaming show at 2:30. And get an in-depth look at the 14 First Alert forecast so you're ready for the next big thing with the 14 First Alert weather show at 9 p.m. Watch the 14 First Alert streaming show that fits your schedule and works best for you. Streaming on your phone by downloading the 14 News app and the 14 First Alert weather app. On your smart TV by using the 14 News streaming app. And stream anytime on Facebook, YouTube, or on 14news.com. Stay connected and stay informed by watching the 14 First Alert streaming shows on your favorite streaming devices.
Good afternoon. I'm 14 First Alert meteorologist Arden Gregory. This is a live look at the view from our 14 News Studio tower camera looking out over Evansville there. It's kind of a gray, gloomy day across the tri-state, and there's still a lot of snow on the ground, but there is some end to the cold, snowy weather in sight here. So while it is still cold and cloudy across the tri-state today, there is a big warm up on the way and starting in just a couple of days here. So for today, it is still cold and cloudy, and it's going to be that way tomorrow as well. By Friday, though, we start to get at least a little bit of sunshine, and our wind direction shifts. That's going to push us into the 40s. We really start to thaw things out on Friday, and then it gets even warmer. It'll be dry and relatively mild through the weekend. Then we climb into the 50s as we get into next week. Now, today, obviously, it is still mostly cloudy, as I mentioned, but thankfully we're not tracking any rain. So even though it's cloudy, it is dry across the tri-state. One thing I am concerned about, let me loop this back around here, make it our way back to the top here. Here we go. So even though it's cold and cloudy today, it was warmer yesterday, and that is one thing that I wanted to mention is be on the lookout today for areas of black ice. Yesterday our temperatures got into the upper 30s. Some of us even made it into the 40s. And so black ice isn't really black, it's just called that because it blends in with the pavement, where you've got these areas where the snow is kind of piled up on the side of the road. Some of that yesterday melted and the water ran out into the road, but then overnight as temperatures dropped, that did turn into ice. And as our temperatures have stayed below freezing today, many areas are still dealing with that ice. So please be careful, it can be hard to spot, but there may still be some slick spots out there as our temperatures are back below freezing today. It is currently 11 degrees colder in Evansville than it was at this same time yesterday. Yesterday we were tracking some very spotty rain and snow showers that were moving through the region. Those really picked up as they moved off to our east, and areas from about Cincinnati down into Lexington actually picked up some pretty significant fresh snow accumulation yesterday, whereas here we had very, very minimal, if any, impacts at all. But those showers were along a cold front. So as those moved through, that colder air moved in, and as I just showed you, it is 11 degrees colder than it was at this same time yesterday. So instead of upper 30s, we're talking upper 20s today. This is a look at the satellite and the radar. The radar is clear. We're not tracking any rain or snow today, but it is still very cloudy, and that's going to be the case today and probably tomorrow too. I mean, we could maybe get a stray flurry at some point, but really it's just going to be cold, cloudy, but dry through the next couple of days. As for our temperatures, we have already hit our high for the day. It's all downhill from here. It's currently 26 in Evansville, 29 in Owensboro, but it feels like we're in the upper teens to low 20s. It's 17 for the wind chill right now in Evansville. Owensboro feeling like 20, and that's because, again, we don't have any sunshine to warm us up, and we've got this cold breeze flowing in from the north. Our winds are coming from the north at about 5 to 10 miles an hour, so it's not terribly breezy, but that wind is just enough that it does add that extra chill out there. And as we go through the night tonight, the wind will die down some, but temperatures are going to drop into the low to mid-teens. It's going to be cold out there tonight, so even a gentle breeze could knock a few degrees off of that as for the wind chill. And so with a low around 13, your wind chill could get down as low as 8, 9, 10 degrees. So again, it will be cold out there overnight tonight. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, still cold, maybe just a couple degrees warmer than today with highs in the lower 30s. Our wind direction does start to change tomorrow though, so we go from a cold breeze from the north switching around to warmer air flowing in from the southwest, and that southerly airflow really kicks into high gear Thursday night into Friday. So while tonight our lows will be in the teens and tomorrow our highs will be in the low 30s, Thursday night into Friday morning then our lows are only in the mid-20s. So we see already this warming trend, and then Friday our temperatures will climb into the low to mid-40s. Now that sounds like a huge warm up, and compared to the weather we've had here recently, it is, but don't lose perspective on this. that's where our temperatures should be this time of year. Our average highs are in the low to mid 40s. Now we will see a brief dip in our temperatures again on Saturday, but it doesn't last. We then warm right back into those mid 40s Sunday, and then we're talking 50s as we get into next week and maybe even beyond. The extended outlook for Thursday, February 12th, all the way through Valentine's Day weekend and into the start of the next week is showing our general trend is above average temperatures. And again, our normal highs would be in the mid 40s. So you're probably talking about temperatures in the 50s throughout next week. However, we're also outlooked for above average precipitation. In fact, when you look specifically at the hazards outlook, the tri-state is kind of on the northern edge of this rather large area that has been outlooked for the potential for heavy precipitation, heavy rain from Thursday, February 12th through Sunday, February 15th. So we're talking about something that's more than a week away now, but as we get to the end of next week, there is this potential that we could maybe get some widespread rain, maybe even some heavy rain or a few rumbles of thunder. So let's kind of walk through the next week and a half or so. I mentioned that potential for maybe a few flurries tomorrow, but it really looks like any chance of precipitation over the next couple of days is really going to stay to our northeast. By Friday, we've got that wind direction shift. Pay attention to the wind arrows here. Warmer air flowing in from the southwest. That's what's going to push us into those 40s. That plus just a little bit of sunshine will really warm us up on Friday. But by Friday night, that wind direction starts to change. Again, I expect the snow showers to stay to our northeast, but we will see this drop in our temperatures then, that brief cool down on Saturday as colder air moves in from the north. That cool down doesn't last very long though. By Sunday, our wind direction starts to change again. Warmer air begins to flow back in from the south. We bounce back into the 40s on Sunday. Then by Monday and Tuesday, as that flow of warm air continues, we look at our temperatures climbing into the 50s. Now, as we get into the middle of next week, that's when we start talking rain chances. Late Tuesday into Wednesday, we'll have a weather system coming in, a warm front swinging through the tri-state that could maybe bring some very hit or miss showers late Tuesday into Wednesday. But then, just as that system starts to move out, another one will move in. And so that keeps scattered rain in the forecast Thursday, with that potential for heavy rain then maybe as we get into Friday. Again, this is next Friday. So we're talking about something that's like a week and a half away. There's still a lot of uncertainty with this. Notice there are some pockets of yellow showing up here down closer to Memphis. I do think areas to our south maybe have the better chance of heavy rain and thunderstorms. But that potential is something that we'll be keeping an eye on here at 14 News for you. So here's your 7-day forecast. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy. Don't be shocked if you see a flurry, but no significant precipitation of any kind. Highs in the lower 30s. Starting the day with lows in the teens. So tonight into tomorrow morning, it's going to be cold. Highs in the low 30s tomorrow afternoon. Then that warming trend starts Thursday night with lows only reaching the mid 20s, highs in the 40s. That's actually right where our temperature should be this time of year. I mentioned that brief change in our wind direction cools us back off for a moment on Saturday, but then we warm right back into the mid 40s by Sunday, and then we've got those highs in the 50s as we get into next week. A few hit or miss showers are possible Tuesday, Wednesday. It looks like those will be pretty isolated though. The next chance of kind of widespread rain would be end of next week, probably as we get closer to Friday. So again, this is way far off in the distance here, our next chance of widespread rain. Good afternoon, Jeff Miller and Lori Weaver. Jeff commenting that he really enjoys out and about. I'm glad you do, Jeff. I know Chief Meteorologist Jeff Lyons puts a lot of work into those. They're really cool pieces, so I'm glad you're enjoying them. And Lori commenting, maybe the rain will get rid of all this snow and ice. I actually think the snow and ice will be gone before then. I know we've got a lot of snow, but it's already started to melt. We had a snow depth of, several inches up, 8-9 inches deep for the, what was that? A week and a half ago, last weekend into the early last week. But then it has, every time our temperatures have gotten just above freezing, we've kind of see this melt and refreeze, melt and refreeze, melt and refreeze. But we're slowly working our way through that snow. So as our temperatures get into the 40s and we get some sunshine on Friday, I think that'll be the first day that we see kind of a big thaw where a significant amount of that snow does start to melt. You start to see patches where it actually maybe melts all the way down. And then especially as we get into next week, particularly on Monday with mostly sunny skies and highs in the 50s, I think we put a serious dent in the snow. And then notice as we get into next week, even our low temperatures are above 32. So even at night, our temperatures will be above freezing. That snow is going to melt as we get into early next week. It'll finally truly be gone, and then we'll have the rain moving in behind that, which is actually how you want it to work, because that's where you can sometimes run into flooding issues, is if your storm drains and storm grates are all packed with snow, then you get rain. You can sometimes have flooding issues because the rain doesn't have anywhere to go because everything's full of snow. But thankfully, it looks like the snow will melt first. That'll all run off. Then we'll get the rain. So it may take a while for the ground to dry out because it kind of melt away that snow. Everything's kind of, muddy for a day or two after that, and then we get rain on top of that. But I think this is all going to be spread out enough that I don't think we'll ever see flooding issues. We'll have to wait and see just how much rain we're talking about with that system we're tracking for potentially next Friday. But again, that's so far off in the distance, it's too early to know any details on timing or totals or impacts. But just specifically talking about the snow, I don't think we're going to have any flooding issues. Even though it was a lot of snow, it's really not that much water. Snow typically has about a 10-to-1 ratio, which means 10 inches of snow is only an inch of water. And so despite all the snow we got last weekend, if you melted it all down, it was less than an inch of liquid. So as the snow gradually melts, it's really not that much water. And it should all melt and be cleared out of the ditches and the drains and everything before the rain moves in. So we are going to have a window of time here where we actually melt the snow and are dry for a brief period of time before then the rain moves in. So just something to look forward to there is that melting. Angie says she's looking forward to the weekend being warmer. Yes, especially on Sunday, the 40s, Friday and Sunday, the 40s. After such a long stretch below freezing, the 40s is going to have everybody wanting to break out their shorts. I mean, it is going to feel like a heat wave after such a long stretch of cold weather. All right. And then Angie said, yeah, Sunday into Monday, especially Monday. Monday's the day I'm really looking forward to. Mostly sunny and 50s. That's going to feel like spring. It's going to be great. All right, I'm not seeing any other questions in the comments, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Again, it's still going to be cold tonight into tomorrow, but Friday we're going to really start working away at melting this snow, and by next week with temperatures in the 50s, that's when things will really thaw out. And then we're watching again for that potential for some heavy rain as we get into the end of next week, but that's a week and a half away still. Most of the next 7 days will be dry with the exception of maybe a few flurries tomorrow or Friday, and that potential for a few hit or miss rain showers as we get into Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. All right. Yes, can't wait for my driveway to be snow-free. I agree, Cheyenne. I know a lot of folks are looking forward to when this snow is finally going to melt. And the good news is by early next week, I really think we will have seen a significant amount of that snow melting. And whatever's left will probably melt Monday, Tuesday. Obviously, where they've shoveled it up into big piles and parking lots, that takes forever to melt. But as far as the snow on your driveway, the snow on the sidewalks, any remaining snow on untreated roads and parking lots and things like that, that is all really going to melt away as we get into early next week, and you'll just be left with these lonely little piles that take a little bit longer to melt out there. All right. With that, I'm going to wrap this up. Meteorologist Michael Fecka will have your forecast tonight at 4, 5, 6, and 10, and on our streaming show tonight at 9. So I hope you'll join him for that. Have a great rest of your day.